The marketplace on Tarsonis Prime buzzed with 1,000 different species, each haggling in their native tongues through universal translators. Leo Martinez adjusted the cargo straps on his shoulders, just another human freight runner trying to make enough credits to fuel his aging transport ship. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows between the crystalline structures that housed merchants from across the galaxy. He noticed the Velcrin child first, small, with iridescent scales that shimmered blue and purple in the fading light. The youngling couldn't have been more than 5 standard years old, darting between stalls with the reckless abandon of children everywhere. Leo smiled. Kids were kids, no matter what planet they came from. Then he saw them. 3 Krail mercenaries, their bulky exoskeletons clicking as they moved through the crowd. Their weapons were poorly concealed, and their eyes, all 6 of them, were locked on something. Leo followed their gaze, and his blood ran cold. The Velcrin child had wandered into an open plaza, alone and exposed. Leo's mind raced. The Krail had been raiding Velcrin colonies for months, taking prisoners for reasons the Galactic Council was still investigating. He should walk away. He should mind his own business. Humans were barely tolerated in most of the galaxy, newcomers who'd only achieved faster-than-light travel a generation ago. But the child looked back toward the market, confusion crossing those alien features, and Leo saw fear. His feet moved before his brain caught up. "Hey!" Leo shouted, sprinting toward the plaza. "Over here, you rust-bucket cowards!" The Krail turned, surprise registering in their multifaceted eyes. The largest one raised its plasma rifle. Leo's military, training from the Human Colonial Defense Force, kicked in, old instincts from a war he'd tried to forget. He zigged left then zagged right, closing the distance. The first blast caught him in the shoulder, spinning him around. White-hot pain exploded through his nervous system, but Leo kept moving. He reached the child and threw himself over the small body, using his own frame as a shield. The second blast hit his back, then the third, fourth, fifth. Each impact felt like being struck by lightning wrapped in razor wire. Through the agony, Leo heard screaming. Someone was yelling for security, for help, for anyone. The child beneath him trembled, making small chirping sounds of terror. 6th blast. 7th. Leo's vision began to tunnel, darkness creeping in from the edges. He couldn't feel his legs anymore, but he kept his arms locked around the child, refusing to let go. The 8th blast never struck flesh. Through dimming consciousness, Leo heard new sounds, the high-pitched whine of advanced energy weapons, shouts in a language that made his translator crackle with static, and then nothing. Waking was a gradual process, like swimming up from the bottom of a deep ocean. Leo became aware of sounds first. Soft beeping, hushed voices speaking in measured tones. Then came sensation, the absence of pain, which was itself strange. He should be dead. He should definitely be in pain. His eyes fluttered open. The room was unlike any hospital he'd ever seen. The ceiling appeared to be made of living crystal that pulsed with gentle bioluminescence. But it wasn't the architecture that made his breath catch. 7 figures stood around his bed, and Leo recognized them immediately from every military briefing he'd ever attended. Velcrin Sentinel Guards, the most elite warriors in 3 galactic quadrants. Their ceremonial armor, only worn in the presence of the highest honor, gleamed like captured starlight. "He wakes," one of them said, the translator rendering the melodic Velcrin language into flat standard. An 8th figure approached from the shadows, smaller than the others. The child. The small Velcrin was wearing fine robes now, and beside them stood 2 adults whose bearing screamed authority. "Leo Martinez of Earth," the female adult spoke, her voice carrying weight that made even the sentinels stand straighter. "I am Ambassador Cyril of the Velcrin Concordat. This is my mate, Commander Vex, and you have saved our daughter, Princess Anna." "Princess?" "Of course." Leo tried to sit up, but a gentle hand from one of the sentinels kept him still. "The plasma burns were severe," the sentinel explained, their voice surprisingly gentle for a warrior who could reportedly tear through a reinforced hull with their bare claws. "You sustained injuries that would have killed most species, but you are human and humans. Humans are remarkably difficult to kill. Commander Vex stepped forward, and Leo saw tears glistening in the alien's eyes, a universal expression of emotion that needed no translation. You took 8 blasts. 8. You covered our daughter with your own body when you could have run, when any rational being would have fled. She's a kid, Leo managed, his voice hoarse. Doesn't matter what species, you protect kids. The Sentinels exchanged glances, their translator chips struggling to convey something in their expressions, respect perhaps, or wonder. Ambassador Cyril knelt beside the bed, bringing herself to Leo's eye level. For 3,000 years, we Velcrin have prided ourselves on our honor codes, our warrior traditions, our sense of duty. We believed we had perfected the concept of sacrifice. She paused, her hand gently touching his. And then a human freight runner, a stranger to our people with no obligation, no reward, no reason, stepped between plasma fire and our child. Princess Anna approached shyly, carrying something in her small claws. It was a crystal pendant, shaped like a star, that seemed to contain a galaxy of light within its depths. This is the Star of Vel, Commander Vex explained. It has been awarded only 12 times in our entire history, to the greatest heroes of our people. He paused. You are the first non-Velcrin to receive this honor, the first alien. The council debated for hours, but the vote was unanimous. Leo looked at the pendant, then at the child's hopeful face, then at the elite warriors standing at attention around his bed. I just did what anyone should do, he whispered. No, said the oldest sentinel, his voice like gravel and starlight. You did what a human would do, and perhaps that is why the galaxy needs your species more than we knew. You have shown us that honor is not learned from codes and traditions alone. Sometimes it is simply choosing to be a shield when a child needs one. Princess Anna carefully placed the pendant on Leo's chest, her small chirp translated as a simple, "Thank you." As consciousness began to fade again, the medical systems administering more healing protocols, Leo heard Ambassador Cyril speaking to the Sentinels. Inform the Concordat, inform the Council. The Human Protection Clause passes unanimously. Earth and all her colonies are now under Velcrin protection. We have a debt of honor. Leo smiled as sleep took him. He'd just wanted to run freight and stay out of trouble. Instead, he'd apparently changed humanity's place in the galaxy, all because a kid was a kid no matter what planet they came from. And some things Leo knew transcended species. Some things were just human,